Hi there, I'm Scott, and this is GreatScott Knitting Passover 2022. I'm out for my morning walk. I try to take a walk at least 3 or 4 times a week before I start my day. It's kind of a gray day, as you can tell. But I'm out here doing my thing. Today is technically Easter Sunday. So for those of you who are Christians, I hope you have a wonderful day. And for all of us, I hope we all find some Easter eggs. What I mean by Easter eggs, I'm not talking about the actual hard-boiled eggs that we decorate with color and throw out into our yard. I'm talking about those little things that show up in our lives, completely unexpected, unlooked for, and that if we don't pay attention, we'll walk right by it and don't even notice that it's there. Those little joys in life that can show up when you're not, and if you don't look for it, if you don't open your eyes, if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. So I hope you notice some and find some Easter eggs this day. But it is still Passover. It is the second day of Passover. Last night was second night Seder, for those of you who have second night Seder. My family does not do a second night Seder. Instead, last night, the Seder crew at my house had leftovers from first night, and then we played Cards Against Humanity. Certainly a irreverent game for a very reverent period of time. But it was a lot of fun. And I think that's what the holiday is really about, is enjoying ourselves, freeing up ourselves to laugh a little bit. That now is really a great time to kind of start talking about the joys of having that choice of what you want to do with your day, with your life. Just because we got out doesn't mean we're free. It's just really so true. I mean, I think about it. I got out of my small town that I grew up in, because I believed and felt like it was a prison. You've probably had something like that in your life at some point, where the place you were felt like a prison. And so you chose to leave, to escape, if you might say. But the thing is, I found that I still had that small town inside me, and so I was still trapped there. And it wasn't till many years later that I started realizing I had a choice to let that go and to be a different person and to take a different path and to stop complaining about where I came from and start enjoying where I was a bit more and start taking control of my own life. It took a long time for the Jewish people to come to that realization as well. I mean, they spent 40 years in the desert and in the wilderness wandering around because they weren't ready. They didn't have a mindset of choosing to be free. They were free, but they just hadn't chosen it yet. And I think the way we choose to be free is, number one, pay attention to how we say things, What's our language like? Do we say, I choose to pay my bills on time? Or do we say, I have to? I choose to go to the doctor. Or do I have to? I choose to clean my house. Or I have to. There's power in using the word choice. Choose. I get to. I have an opportunity to. As opposed to complaining about those things that are chores in life. I think we also need to notice that between stimulus and response, you have a choice. And in that choice lies our power and our freedom. I paraphrase a quote from Viktor Frankl for that, so it's not original to me. But it's true. We don't have to react to every little thing that comes along our way. We can choose how we want to respond. Another thing that gives us freedom is focusing on those things we can do, not the things we can't. Realizing that we have lots of resources around us to overcome any obstacle and any challenge that we're faced with. There are people in our lives that would love to help us. There's knowledge to be gained. Oh, good morning. There's knowledge to be gained in the world to help us overcome challenges. There are tools and technologies all over the place. Sometimes it is a question of budget and a question of time. But I don't know, look at a teenager. Do they ever worry about budget? They always find budget to do the things they want to do, ultimately. Many of them do. Believe me, there was no budget in my world. At least not that I could see. But I guess I never really looked. I'm finding more and more budget in my life for things that I want to do. And allowing myself to use that budget for the things I want to do. Those things, I think, what really can change your mindset. Focus on your language. Because the language can let you know where your mindset is. Are you on a limiting, dependent mindset, a mindset of a slave, or do you have the mindset of someone who's free? And then there's focusing on that space between stimulus and response, choosing what you want to do, and choosing in that moment to focus on the things you can do, not what you can't. Those, I think, are what transition you into someone who accepts their own freedom, is responsible for their own actions, and are probably getting better results in their life because of it. Nearing the end of my walk this morning. When I get back in at some point today, we'll talk about knitting. So yes, I hope you enjoyed the little walk. So we are going to be talking about my knitting and where I'm at so far on the cold pale moon. I really love how this is going. And if you can see, I just love those speckles that are coming in and the fun nature of that tonal yarn that I have for this light color that starts off this shawl. Being DK weight, it is going really fast, but it is also the beginning of the shawl, and these early sections of the shawl, this early part of this asymmetric shawl, it's going to look like I'm making huge amounts of progress in a short amount of time, and it's because there's not really that much knitting here. Because it's so small, eventually it's going to get to the point where it's wide, and so it's going to take longer to get back and forth on those different rows. So far, the only aspect that caught me up in the very first couple of rows was there is a knit front back front that I misread in the first couple of rows and wound up having to start over one time so that I can make sure that I was getting that knit front back front, which gave me that additional stitch that allows that shawl to grow. So that was the only thing that's been really tricky. The rest of this is just really super simple. It is a 4-row repeat. Well, no, it's an 8-row repeat. So there's little differences on the end of the row to balance out how it is growing and how it is turning into. It's not a complete total triangle. I mean, it's got this curve to it, so it's curling in here, and when I block it, it'll bring that out. But it's much more like this, not like this, but like this. And so it's going to have a curve on this one end as well. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving playing with this particular colorway that I dyed up. And so it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to get to the dark blue. Just as a reminder, eventually it's going to get into that mosaic section with this deep indigo color, which I think is going to look so wonderful with this in that mosaic section. So that will be fun. Oh, and just as a reminder, here is what that looks like. That's what the cold pale moon looks like. Right now, I'm probably about up here. And so I've got to get down to this section, then start the mosaic, and then into that tonal indigo section to wind it off. And it looks like it binds off in the light color. So that will be very fun, and I can't wait to jump into that. So it's been really nice having our friend Lee from Kansas City to join us for the Passover weekend. Having her here has given me an opportunity to talk a little bit about dyeing, because she's never experienced yarn dyeing and indie dyer. She's not a knitter. She's not a fiber artist. But she's also been one of the people that has received many of my knitted items in the past. And so she was very fascinated by the process of dyeing yarn, so was able to describe a little bit of that process and how that works out, where you have animal-based fibers and an acid dye like food coloring or professional dyes. Basically what you need is heat, acid, water, and time. You combine those things in different ways and you get different techniques, different types of color, different types of the way color plays on the yarn can change. So it was fun to kind of describe that to her today. Last night was the second night of Passover, and it is also when we start counting the Omer. If you were here last year, you remember I sort of introduced us to counting of the Omer. The the Omer is a measure of an offering that was given at the temple, and it's a countdown. Actually, it's a count up to Shavuot. Shavuot is a sort of a midsummer holiday where we celebrate the giving of the law to the Jewish people. It is a 50-day period from Passover to Shavuot. And in Greek, that 50-day, the culmination of that 50-day period is called the Pentecost. It is that holiday that you guys, that the Christians would celebrate in after Easter. It would be the Pentecost celebration. For the Jewish people, it is Shavuot, which is when God provided us the law. He gave it to Moses, and then Moses transferred it to the people of Israel, the people of the Hebrew people at Mount Sinai. And so we are in that 50-day period from redemption from slavery to the point where we truly become a people under and accept our mantle from God to be God's Jewish people, and to take on the responsibilities of living by Torah. That's that's where we're headed. And so last night we count one day of the Omer. And so every day we will count the Omer between now and Shavuot. And the way we count that is we count it in days, and then we will count it in weeks and days. So eventually we'll count it as today is 1 day and 1 week of the Omer, as opposed to 8 days. That's kind of an interesting way that we count it. And so today is day 1 of the Omer. Last night we counted it. Tonight we will count day 2. So I hope that little explanation kind of helps you make sense of the counting that's going on over here. Yeah, you'll see it up there. And you'll see it on the introductory card as well, that this is 1 day of the Omer. And so it is a really a great time to contemplate oneself as they get ready to receive the instruction of life, one could say. At least that's how it was for the Jewish people. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful Easter Sunday, and that you're enjoying your day. And I also hope for those of you who are following the fast of Ramadan, I hope you have an easy fast and that it is fulfilling for you in that spiritual sense. And with that, have a lovely day, and may you have peace in your home and the fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Bye.